the final tier list video of the year ever? I think so. We have done almost every single position except for relief pitchers and closers, which is what we're going to do in today's video, combining them together and making them one total video. As much as I love tier lists, the fad is over, the hype is over with tier lists, so I think it's time we finally end them here today. As always, if you guys do enjoy these videos, make sure to leave a like on it. That's the best way to show your support. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, this is the place you need to be. Make sure to click that sub button, join the team. Remember to get in the comment section down below. Let me know your opinion on where I put players on this tier list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to have a conversation down below. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. And of course, if you guys want to buy some baseball tickets, make sure to head on over to SeatGeek and use the code Giraffe at checkout. Save yourself $20 off your first purchase. There's a lot of relievers to go through, so I'm not going to go crazy in depth on every single one of them because we'll be here for 100 days. So let's get started with Cody Allen. Cody Allen, of course, was cut by the Angels this year. I think a team picked him up, but I don't remember exactly who. Was it maybe the Twins or the Nationals? But regardless, I think Cody Allen is a decent closer, but he hasn't been good in 2019. I think I'm going to drop Cody Allen. I think I'm going to drop Cody Allen in the B tier because he did have some incredible seasons with Cleveland in the past. I mean, some really good numbers if you look at them, but of late, he hasn't been great, so I'm going to have to knock him down a bit. I'm going to put him in the B tier. Next up, we have Jose Alvarado of the Rays. I think I'm going to put him in the B tier as well, struggling in 2019. He's got really good stuff, left-handed pitcher, throws some heat. He's really good, but he's had some walk issues, so I'm going to throw him in the B tier right now because I don't think he's an average closer. I do think he's above average, or reliever, as we should say, but he's not at the top of the top. I'm going to throw him in B. For Matt Barnes of the Boston Red Sox, I'm going to go ahead and throw him in C. His ERA is always kind of hovering around that 4 number, which isn't great. It's not bad. He has some good outings. He has great stuff, but we're just yet to see him be like a top-end kind of reliever, so I'm going to throw him in the C tier. Which leads us to Dylan Betances of the Yankees, who has S tier stuff. He has some of the nastiest stuff in the game, but we haven't seen him pitch in 2019 due to an injury, so we don't know what he's going to come back like. He does have a bit of a walk issue. He has fixed it sometimes, but then also he loses control of the zone, so I'm going to put him in A. He's still a very top-end reliever, but I just can't put him in S just yet. Archie Bradley's a weird reliever because he's had a couple really good seasons, but then he's also had a few just horrible seasons. I'm going to put him in the C tier. He's average. You kind of got to go take the good, you take the bad, boom, average, right in the middle. For Zach Britton, I think I'm going to drop Zach Britton in the elite. I mean, the Yankees have one of the best bullpens in the league. Everybody knows that. They actually probably have the best bullpen in the league, and Zach Britton's one of the reasons why. Nasty from the left-hand side, very rarely gives up a lot of runs. Super solid S tier. Which leads us to another Yankees closer, Aroldis Chapman, who obviously is also going to join him in the S tier. Aroldis Chapman is absolutely disgusting. Still got that incredible fastball, a devastating slider. He's been better and better, it seems like, as the years go on. He's been fantastic for the Yankees this year. He has to go in S tier. The dude is just so much better than everyone else. He's ridiculous. For Alex Colomé, I'm going to put Alex Colomé in the A tier. He's having one of the best seasons of his career. ERA in the 2s, low 2s. He could have arguably been an all-star, maybe should have been. His strikeouts are down, but his hits are also insanely down. Colomé is having a very nice season. I think he's a good reliever. We're going to put him in A tier. Man, Wade Davis has had some really good seasons, but the last 2 have been rough, so I think I have to drop him in the C tier because what we've seen of late just hasn't been great from Wade Davis, so I think I'm going to have to put him in the average tier. He's close to B, but I think C is the right spot for him. Chris Davinsky as well for the Astros. I mean, he's shown that he's a B-type reliever as well, but again, last year not great, this year not off to a great start. Funny enough, one of the weaker pitchers probably in that bullpen, but he's still pretty good. At the end of the day, though, he's going to go in the C tier for average. Edwin Diaz at the beginning of the year was going to go in S, and then he started to kind of screw up a little bit, so I'd put him in A, but he's kind of been a little bit rough. I think Edwin Diaz has the potential, obviously, to be an S tier, and I think that I probably could put him in A, but from what I've seen right now in New York, he hasn't really shown that he's consistently good, so I'm going to put Edwin Diaz in the B tier, but almost more as like a wake-up call. I want him to see this and take it personally and be like, I'm going to prove GiraffeNeckMarc wrong. For Sir Anthony Dominguez, it's a little bit tough because last year was his first year. He was great. This year he's had some injuries. He's not going to be playing the rest of the year. He had a 4 ERA. So that leads me to believe he's probably in the C tier, which I think I'm going to sit with right now. We haven't really seen enough out of him to be able to kind of figure out what kind of reliever he is, so I'm just going to put him in the C tier. Sean Doolittle I think is really underrated as a reliever. I think he's A tier. The Nationals bullpen in general has been pretty horrible this year, but he's been one of the guys who's at least been somewhat consistent. He was great last year. He's been great for the A's in the past. I think Doolittle's a good little closer here, A tier. So with Carl Edwards Jr. in the past, he's probably in that B tier, but he's changed up his pitching, and it seems like he's kind kind of forgot how to pitch. So for those reasons, I'm going to throw him in the D. He's pretty ineffective this year. He just hasn't been great. I don't know why he changed up his pitching, like rotation, all his mechanics, but it's just not looking good D tier. Which then also leaves us to Jerry's Familia, which I might be hard on him right now. He's got great stuff. I mean, he's got A or S tiers type stuff, but he hasn't even been an average reliever in 2019. He's been so bad. His release points off. It's horrible. D tier. I'm so disappointed with Jerry's. Ken Giles. I'm going to throw Ken Giles in the A tier. He's pitching at S tier this year, without a doubt, but we still have to keep in mind what we have seen in the past. He tends to be a little bit of a head case. He loses focus quite often if things aren't going well. So I'm afraid that if he gets away from Toronto, again, in high-intensity situations, games that matter a little bit more, he might revert back to his old ways, but obviously he has great stuff, and he's off to a great start this year. We're going to drop him in A. Michael Givens has incredible stuff. I mean, SA tier. He has really good stuff. Strikes out a ton of batters, but his ERA numbers really aren't there. He does give up the long ball quite a bit, so I'm going to drop Michael Givens in the B tier. I think he's a better pitcher than what we've seen this year. You get him in a winning situation, he might be in a little better spot. Shane Green's interesting because he has 1 year bad, and then 1 year great, and then 1 year bad, and then 1 year great, so I don't think I can put him in the S or A tier. I think right now I'm going to put him in the B tier. He'll be highly sought after in the trade deadline, and I don't think teams are making a mistake. I just don't think he belongs in this upper category with some of those other guys based on what I've seen. Chad Green. I'm going to drag Chad Green into the B tier. Rough start to 2019, but in the past, he's been one of the Yankees' quietly best relievers in their pen, and he's been pitching well as of late since he went down and got called back up, so I think Chad Green falls into the B category. He's pretty good. Josh Hader. Josh Hader goes into the elite category. One of the nastiest pitchers in the game, especially from the left-hand side. Funny enough, all the guys in S are lefties right now, but his stuff is just absolutely disgusting. If the Brewers can just get a little bit more help in that bullpen, because he just can't do it every single game. Brewers are off to a good spot, but Josh Hader, nasty. Reminds me of Randy Johnson type stuff. Brad Hand, another lefty. Funny enough, this is very strange, but he's going to go in the S tier, going on a 4th straight year of an ERA in the 2s. That's elite, no matter how you slice it. That's fantastic. He's been amazing for the Indians thus far. Definitely S tier. Kelvin Herrera. Kelvin Herrera's been rough because he's not pitching well. He's not off to a great start this year. He's probably a B tier guy normally. Maybe drop him in C. I'm going to drop him in D right now. You can kind of get the theme of what D has been right now. It's just been, like, extremely disappointing. Like, just not very good, and that's where Kelvin Herrera falls in 2019. Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks is hurt. Tommy John out for the rest of the year, probably going to miss next year as well. Again, S tier kind of stuff. He throws like 105. His sinker's 102. His slider's like 97. It's crazy how hard this guy can throw the ball. But he doesn't really get great results all the time, so I'm going to drop him in B because you can't ignore the stuff that he has. Like, to call him average is just crazy. But he's not a top-of-the-line reliever or closer just yet for me. We're going to see a lot from him. He's going to be great, but right now he's B. Raisel Iglesias in the past few years has been lights out for the Reds. This year, go figure, he's one of the pitchers that's not doing too hot, a 4 ERA. But I still think he's a good guy. Again, great stuff, and it might be in a little bit of a funk. I don't think he's completely lost like some of the guys in D or C, but I'm going to go and drop him in B. Kenley Jansen. Now, while he might not be having a dominant year like we've seen from him in the past, he's clearly an S tier kind of closer. He's disgusting. He's elite. He's one of the best in the game. In the 9th inning, if you have him on the mound, I'm pretty confident he's going to be able to close out the game, so S tier for him. For Jeremy Jeffress, similar to Iglesias and some other guys, he has struggled a little bit this year, ERA approaching 4, but he has a career ERA at 2.97. He was lights out for the Brewers last year. He's a big part of that bullpen. I think in the second half, he turns it around quite a bit. He's a really good pitcher. I'm going to put him in B tier. Yeah, Joe Jimenez. Joe Jimenez is going in D tier. Yeah, Eagles, I'm sorry, freak out a little bit, but look at his numbers. He has like a career ERA almost at 6. It's just, he made the All-Star team last year, which is a little shocking because his numbers just aren't very good, so D tier. For Joe Kelly, I'm also going to drop Joe Kelly in the D tier. Just not consistent enough. He didn't even really have that great of a season. Great playoffs, but in the regular season, his ERA was in the 4s. The year prior, he was great, but then you look at all the other years, and his ERA is super high, so he's not consistent enough for me. I'm going to put Joe Kelly in the D tier. Jose Leclerc was nasty in 2018, but 2019, a little bit rough. 2017, not nearly as good either, so I think Jose Leclerc might be in that C tier again. Like, such good stuff, but the numbers just haven't really been there enough on a consistent basis. He has some walk issues. I'm going to drop him in C tier. Trevor May has been really good for the Twins. He's been really solid out of the bullpen. Had a good end to the season last year in 2018. I'm going to drop Trevor May in B. People aren't going to like this, but I think Andrew Miller is going to be A tier. His numbers aren't the best. They're not Andrew Miller-like, but when you watch this guy pitch, you know he's one of the toughest left-handed relievers to face in the game, especially if you're a left-handed batter. When that slider's on, I don't know how anybody hits this guy. He's absolutely untouchable. I still think he's really good. I think he has a lot left in the tank. A tier. Roberto Osuna. Roberto Osuna is going to go into the S tier. He's just absolutely disgusting on the mound. Filthy pitcher. Absolutely insane. Not really that great of a person, but strictly as a baseball player, the dude's pretty elite. Adam Ottavino is also going to go in the S tier. I was a bit of a doubter of Adam Ottavino this year, I'm not going to lie, because he has been a bit inconsistent in the past. I mean, last year, filthy. Then the year before was a bit rough. Kind of was an on and off kind of guy, but since coming to New York, he's been absolutely filthy for the Yankees. He's clearly elite, S tier. David Robertson, hurt, not pitching a whole lot in 2019 for the Phillies, but we saw what he did in 2018 with the Yankees. He's a really underrated reliever, so I'm going to drop him in A tier. When you dive deeper into his numbers, you start to see like, man, he's really good. Doesn't give up a lot of hits. Like, I think opponents on base or batting average is like some of the lowest in baseball history. David Robertson's a really solid reliever. Phillies are definitely missing him on the IL. Sergio Romo, not really what you would call a closer for a competitive team. Probably more of one of those guys you throw in there for some depth. Right now, I think he's probably a C tier player. Obviously, in his prime, he was elite. He was disgusting. But right now, we don't have the best Sergio Romo that we've seen. His ERA has been a bit high, so I'm going to drop him in C for average. Will Smith. I'm dropping Will Smith in elite. I think he's one of the best left-handed relievers in the game. Not nearly enough people talking about him. He's going to be a hot commodity at the trade deadline. Might get a lot back for him as well, so I think Will Smith goes in S tier. He's been filthy from a left-handed reliever standpoint. Drew Steckenrider, average for me. I mean, I see him when the Mets play. He's on the IL right now. When the Mets play the Marlins, I'm never like, oh man, here comes Steckenrider. I always feel like we have a chance against him, so I'm going to go C tier. So this one might surprise people, but I'm going to drop Pedro Strop in the A tier. He hasn't had an ERA with the Cubs above 3 since they acquired him in 2013. This year he does, but his numbers have been going down. He's a really good pitcher, I think. So while his numbers aren't as good as they have been, they're still pretty solid. And when you look at his resume of work, he's been really good, like really quietly, so A tier. Anthony Swarzak's confusing. He was with the Mets. He was horrible, completely terrible. I want to put him in F tier. He was terrible with the Mariners. I want to put him in F tier. But then he went to the Braves, and he has been lights out, a .52 ERA. How does that happen for Anthony Swarzak? I really have a hard time figuring out where to put him, C or D. He's not making it above there because he hasn't shown me enough on a consistent basis recently that he's been able to pitch at a high level. I still believe he's going to end up screwing something up because he's really not that guy. He was terrible with the Mets. Maybe it was just his health. I'll put him in C. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Blake Trinan, if you had told me last year he's going to go into S, you tell me this year he's been struggling a little bit of the IL as well. He's going to go into A tier. Disgusting stuff. Blake the Witcher, what do they call him? Blake the Witcher Trinan? Whatever it is, it's because he makes the ball just kind of, it's like magic. He's crazy. Put some spells on it and the ball just moves like a wiffle ball. Felipe Vasquez, another left-handed reliever who's going into the S tier. Maybe I have a soft spot for left-handed relievers, but he's just disgusting. A great 2019. He's had great years with the Pirates. Ever since he's pretty much left Washington, he's been great. I mean, the dude's clearly S tier. He's so good. Aroldis Vizcaino, hurt this year, so he's not going to be doing a lot of pitching. I'd actually probably put him in A tier because his stuff is nasty, and he's had really good numbers, but the fact of the matter is that he's not really pitching much, so it's tough to put him in the same class with these guys up here who have done it for a longer span of time. So for those reasons, I put him in B. Dan Winkler, D. Not much to say about Dan Winkler. I mean, he had an okay year last year, and that was kind of his best year. This year, ERA around 5. I think he goes in the D tier. I honestly don't even know why I have F. It doesn't feel like anybody's going to go in there because usually your best relievers that would be on here or closers aren't going to be completely terrible. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that real quick. Kirby Yates. Kirby Yates has been disgusting. Filthy last year, almost unstoppable this year. Kirby Yates is going into S tier. I think for Adam Simber, I'm tempted to put him in B, but we'll put Adam Simber in B. He's had like a career ERA around 3. That's pretty solid. He throws herky-jerky, funky type stuff. I kind of like the way he throws, but tough. B or C for me. It's right in between there. Will Harris has been elite this year. He's been pretty good in the past, which could put him in A. I think I want to put Will Harris kind of in the B tier. I think he's a very solid pitcher. I think he's a good reliever, but he's not one of these top-of-the-line kind of guys where I go, man, Will Harris is in the game. It's over. It's finished. I just don't get the same stuff with those guys in the tiers above him that I do with Will Harris, which is why he goes in B. He's still very good, though. Mark Melancon, or as I knew him when I was younger, Mark Melancon. I don't know how I feel about him. He's a bit shaky with the Giants. I mean, he's not an average reliever. Like, he's a good guy to get. He's someone you want in your bullpen. So I think I drop him in the B tier. It's just he's not, a stud by any means. He's not in this A or S tier, in my opinion. Who the hell is this guy on the Royals? Okay, so this is Brad Boxberger. He's no longer on the Royals. He was cut. The Nationals picked him up. He's currently in AA. His numbers haven't been great. I'm gonna drop Brad Boxberger in the D category. Just not really a top of the guy that I would really consider. I mean, he's in AA right now. So that is my tier list for relievers and closers in Major League Baseball, closing out the end of an era, finishing up tier lists on this channel. I'd love to know what you guys think about it down in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Remember, leave a like on this video if you guys did enjoy it. That's the best way to support. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, this is the place to be. Make sure you hit that sub button. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. And that's going to wrap up today's video. Tier lists are over. That's it. As always, YouTube recommends you watch this video as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Adios.